Hello everyone, good morning, welcome back. Hope you can hear me. Still lots of people coming into the room, so good morning to you all. Please take your seat, settle down for another morning of practice. Okay, so welcome to all of those who are regular here. Welcome, special welcome to all of those who might be here for the first time. Welcome to those who will just see us through the recording. Well, happy birthday, Rosalind. Wishing you a very lovely day. And we're about to start another morning of reflections with Nirmala. And you know that you can ask your questions at the end of the session. You can come live if you wish to. Just click on the little virtual hand so that I know that you want to come live. And I won't take much time speaking about the generosity practice. Nirmala is speaking about generosity in general for the whole week. But I'll just mention again Dana, as I've wrote a little about it on top of the stream, and I've let you have the link. Dana is the based foundation of Sangha Life, the way Sangha Life can keep on doing everything it has been doing for the past 10 years. It's thanks to Dana that we're all here today. So this ongoing flowing of generosity, your generosity towards us, your capacity to give, so that we can keep on supporting you and doing this work, this hard work, is of basic importance. So if you can give, please use the link. If you can't give, it's fine. You have a great practice of generosity being here every morning and supporting us by your practice. So that's what we're here for. And having said that, I will take myself off and practice with you, leaving the stage to Nirmala. Thank you all and have a very nice session.
Good morning. Hello, everybody. Happy birthday to you, Rosalind, and to all of us. We can see every day as our birthday, setting our intentions for what we really want to bring into life every day new. A birthday can really emphasize forgiveness and starting new. What a gift that we are here together. And I really dive into this gratitude of being here with you every time I'm teaching here. I'm offering what I can offer. And I wonder if you're doing the same, like really feeling how amazing that is that we meet together on this path. I don't know what your life looked like in the past, what you have experienced, But for myself, I can truly say that there have been times, now it's many years ago, but there have been times where I didn't know about this path. Maybe some inner longing already knew, always knew. And still, when these teachings came into my life, they were like life-changing. They rescued me. Thinking of Rumi, who says that what you love most rescues you. And when we are new to this practice, like there are so many, or there might be so many insights that are very obvious for us, but when we are long on the path, we come through phases where we don't feel the benefits like so directly as we might have at the beginning. And then there come other phases where we harvest the fruits. And I do feel this with generosity, the practice of generosity. Like we might give with the feeling of obligation, with the feeling of, oh, this is difficult. I rather would stay in bed than to get up and help my neighbor. And I'm still doing it. And through bringing the kindness there and the awareness, something changes. Something goes with it, which makes the heart lighter, which opens the heart, and which from time to time, or with time, makes giving easier. And I observe myself, there's a trailer here in the forest and there's a couple living in it, and they got a baby 3 weeks ago. And the day before yesterday, I was doing their laundry. And after having brought back the laundry, I just jumped back through the forest. I was so delighted. And I was like, wow, I'm full of joy because I didn't manage to make this extra time to do something for them. And I could really feel the joy. And I think if like 10 years ago, I was giving and I didn't feel the joy inside. So that's really part of the practice, to be aware what's going on and go with that. And I wanted to post actually a study. I put that here. I hope you get that. Where it's a study where they gave 2 groups of people, they gave money in the morning. And one group was asked to spend the money on themselves, and the other group was asked to spend the money on others during one day. And in another research, there was not only money, but also sweets, actually. And at the end of the day, it was very obvious that the group of people who spent money or sweets on others was happier than the group of people who just kept the money for themselves or spent the money for themselves. And in fact, it didn't make a difference how much they give, how much they gave, how much money they gave. It's really about the movement there. Yeah. There's a Zen saying, and it's a question: what is a great embodiment of generosity? And the answer is, it's like simply taking your hand at night and rearranging your pillow. What we offer in this world, this is our connection to this world, this is our participation. And every time we consciously give space to that and really stand in it, it's a letting go of our story. It's letting go of the grip of me, mine, and I. And sometimes with giving, a vulnerability comes with it. Like you might know that, like you want to give, you have an idea of giving somebody something, and then there's some like holding back. Or maybe if it's not good enough, maybe it's not okay to give. And just really check what's going on there. Be close to yourself. The Buddha mentioned 3 areas of giving. And the first one is material support. Could be like money, food, clothes, whatever. It's also meaning time, listening for somebody, gratitude, knowledge, forgiveness is part of that, or support in terms of cleaning the house of somebody else, washing nappies from your neighbor. And there is a saying of Mother Teresa. She says, let us not be satisfied by just giving money. Money is not enough. Money can be good, but they need your hearts to love. So spread your love everywhere. Yeah. And also we can look into, where do I limit my generosity? And am I limiting my kindness? Stinginess with money is related, it's dependent on a whole way we are seeing this world. Generosity completely changes our way of seeing the world, of seeing you and me. Stinginess goes together with fear. Feels like something very deep sometimes, and we need to gently address what is underneath. If you feel this tenderness to hold back, to collect more and more. Another way of giving the Buddha mentioned is the gift of fearlessness. It's like living, speaking, acting in a wholesome way, creating an environment of fearlessness. It goes together with Shila. As I said on the first day, the paramis, and generosity is the first one of it. They all interweave each other. They all need to go together. So creating an environment where somebody is safe, where others are safe. It's an expression of non-attachment. Nobody needs to fear anything from us because we are not attached. We don't react. Being open to other people. It's an act of generosity. And that also means to protect other people when they, or help them when they need our help, when they're in danger. Could mean to save an insect from a puddle, even though it might be eaten afterwards by a crow. We are not in that. It's like the inner act. And the third area of generosity, which the Buddha mentioned, is the giving of the Dharma. That means that we provide aspects of our Dharma practice to others. It's a gift of sharing what we are learning through practice, reading, and study. And it doesn't mean like to go and just preach, just tell everybody what you learn through your practice. It can mean just to be present, to be your practice, be compassionate, be generous, be generous. Let others have their ideas, opinions, fixed views. Okay. Live your discipline, your practice, your concentration, your presence, your listening, deep listening. That all falls into the category of generosity, of giving the Dharma. And of course, we can extend that to everything we find really useful, to share that rather than holding back. Neil Donald Welch says, the greatest gift you can give a person is to wake them up, to remind them of who they really are. Wow. And the Buddha emphasized, he talked a lot about generosity. Like there are many, many places in the text where you can find teachings on generosity. And he says it's about the intention and state of mind. He even said it's about the intention and state of mind of the giver and of the receiver. He said that it matters if you give to somebody who is like with a purified heart mind and somebody who hasn't got a purified heart mind. And I think because I didn't quite get it, like why it should be better to give to somebody highly developed rather than to give somebody in need and full of greed, hatred, and aversion. But my understanding there is that giving to a person who like has with a pure heart and mind, like who has a pure heart and mind, does do something to our mind state. And it's about our mind state when we give, like while when we're giving to a poor person, for example, who might be like obsessed with attachment to things that we feel like pityness or higher up like than the other person. So just be aware of that. So the practice of generosity is not as simple as it sounds like, but it's mostly about like really feeling what's going on for me. And I like to read you a part of a sutra. It's called the Sutra on Giving from the Anguttara Nikaya, where the Buddha explains the different levels of giving. When Venerable Sariputta, together with the lay followers of Kampa, went to the Blessed One, and on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to the Blessed One, "Might there be the case where a person gives a gift of a certain sort, and it does not bear great fruit or great benefit, whereas another person gives a gift of the same sort, and it bears great fruit and great benefit?" And the Blessed One says, "When someone gives a gift with the thought, this is an ornament for the mind and a support for the mind, he gives his gift, food, drink, clothing, a vehicle, a garland, perfume, and ointment, bedding, shelter, and a lamp, to a contemplative or a Brahman. What do you think, Sariputta? Might a person give such a gift as this?" "Yes, Lord." Having given this, not seeking his own profit, not with a mind attached to the reward, not seeking to store up for himself, nor with the thought, I will enjoy this after death, nor with the thought, giving is good. So the Buddha says here the lowest level of giving is out of obligation because we need to, because we simply think giving is good. Nor with the thought, this was given in the past, done in the past by my father and grandfather. It would not be right for me to let this old family custom be discontinued. So here the Buddha says this out of tradition is also not quite a pure way of giving, just because we are used to give, because this is what we're used, what we learned with what our adults did. For example, putting money in a church basket just out of tradition. This is automatic. Nor with the thought, I'm well off. These are not well off. It would not be right for me, being well off, not to give a gift to those who are not well off. Nor with the thought, just as there were the great sacrifice of the sages of the past. In the same way, this will be my distribution of gifts. Nor with the thought, when this gift of mine is given, it makes the mind serene, gratification, and joy arise. So here the Buddha says, giving something to somebody in order to get something in return, as the Buddha mentioned here, a serene mind, gratification, and joy, is not quite where we want to go to. And still, like as I said, giving and observing what's going on for you. Okay, we expect something in return. How much happiness do we gain from it? So it's important not to make others small through reminding them how much we give to them. But with the thought, this is an ornament for the mind and support for the mind. On the breakup of the body after death, he reappears in the company of Brahma's retinue. Then, having exhausted that action, that power, that status, that sovereignty, he is a non-returner. He does not come back to this world. So here the Buddha says the highest reason for giving is to make the heart and the mind beautiful. And the heart free of clinging is a beautiful heart. This Sariputta is the cause, this is the reason why a person gives the gift of a certain sort and it does not bear great fruit or great benefit, whereas another person gives a gift of the same sort and it bears great fruit and great benefit. So this is the teaching of the Buddha on different levels of generosity. Okay, we go into our practice. Just make yourself comfortable and just see when you arrive into your practice now how you can kind of support letting go whatever you heard right now. Letting go words you may have spoken this morning or heard. And just really arriving into this moment. And as the breath is generous, giving to your body, just see what kind of breath could be generous for you right now, just to support arriving here, settling down, making this the most important moment of your life. Because this moment is the only moment. Now, here. As if the breath was gently touching the space of the head, and bringing kindness there, friendliness, allowing the head to feel as it does. And feel how the breath is giving a gentle blessing to the shoulders, to the upper arms, the lower arms, your hands. To the fingers and fingertips. And tuning into the interconnectedness of lungs and breath and heart. Getting, giving, receiving, giving. And gently tuning into the generous exchange between diaphragm, organs, pelvic floor. The pelvic floor receiving your organs like a hammock. Receiving them with every inhalation and with every exhalation, bringing them gently back to their place. Being aware of the generosity of the breath in your legs, in your knees, in your lower legs, your feet. The breath which supports your whole body. During this life. And allow yourself to bathe in this generosity, to receive. It's our inherent nature to give. As you're giving each moment breath back to the trees and plants, which generously support the breath, support your inhalation. And those of many other beings. Each of them breathing in this world. Breathing with and into this common breath, common inhalation and exhalation, our common giving and receiving. Practice letting go as an act of generosity. Now, letting go of that which is not supportive. Drop it. In kindness and friendliness, with the generosity to embrace. Letting go and embracing. What if it can be there at the same time? And again, tuning into the shared generosity of breath in this world. Inhale, exhale. We're all in this together, all in this one big breath of life. Breathing into spaciousness, the spaciousness in everything, everyone, and around everything. Breathing in the spaciousness which is wide, open, free. Where thought bubbles dance their dance, where sensations make sound as life energy. All happening in wide, open, limitless space. Bringing kindness and friendliness there where there is tension in the space. floating in the movement of inhalation, exhalation, the movement of breath, the movement of trees, of birds, of all humans and life, the movement of coming and going, appearing and disappearing, birth and death. Opening up into wide, open space. Being, not being. Drop down the practice. Open, wide. Every moment, born again, dying again. Into the interconnection of everything, into limitless space. And in this space, wherever you are, making an offering into the world, an offering to those who are dear to you and to those who are not so dear to you. An offering to yourself or to aspects of yourself. Maybe a word comes, feel that, love, safety, compassion. Freedom, joy. Hafiz says, everyone you see, you say to them, love me. Of course, you do not do this out loud. Otherwise, someone would call the cops. Still, though, think about this great pull in us to connect. Why not become the one who lives with the full moon in each eye? That is always saying, with that sweet moon language, what every other eye in this world is dying to hear. So gently moving your body again. Being gentle with yourself and kind, whatever that means for you at this moment. Coming back to the screen, maybe with the generosity of asking a question, if there is any, or sharing where you are, where you landed. What this practice this week is bringing alive in you. You can share anything or ask anything what you want. You could even come up to screen. Thank you, George, for putting up the poem from Hafiz so quickly on the chat. I wonder how you do that, actually. It just almost immediately appeared. Yeah. I wonder where you are at this very moment. Maybe still tuning into the connection between all of us. the connection which is supported by generosity, which opens up through generosity. George, the Zen saying at the beginning is, what is the great embodiment of generosity? It's like simply taking your hand at night to rearrange your pillow. Yeah, I love that. Doro asking a question. Thank you, Doro. When I reflect on giving, time as well as money, all the things that the Buddha described come up. How to give without clinging. What is like immediately coming into my eyes when I read your words, Doro, is that you say when you reflect on giving and you see how all these things of where still there's attachment in it come up with that. Like, I think you mean like the feeling of obligation while giving and feeling of wanting something, the feeling of wanting something in return. It's great that you see that. I mean, this is the first step. And also, rather than thinking about it and reflecting about it, while practicing it, while doing it, tune in. And if there's a lot of holding back, a lot of resistance, or the feeling of obligation is very strong, look into that. What is it? Be gentle and kind, and there's might be a whole story you can discover, and behind the story a whole range of feelings, emotions, and there might be the use of bringing forgiveness to yourself or to others. So really explore, take time when you are in the direct experience, or like as soon as you can after, to really feel what's going on there. And you might feel your fears. Maybe a fear of giving yourself up, of not having enough. And it's a practice. It's not like we do it and there we are, like just away. Yeah. And the practice is tuning in. What's going on here for me? And look in the layer behind. What else is going on? And what else? And just open to what's coming up. Open to pictures, stories, memories, feelings, sensations, emotions. Go with that. I would try that. Thank you for your question. Thank you very much. Jane is asking, can you speak a little about drawing boundaries with those who we fear have taken from us for too long and have drained our resources? Yeah, thank you, Jane. Just like for a brief moment, coming back to Dora's question, it could also mean setting boundaries when we feel we are just doing out of obligation. Like, could mean the result of our exploration here, what's coming out there. And Jane, I don't know the exact situation, like it varies a bit where you are, but like it's more difficult if you're living with somebody, as somebody shared yesterday, how difficult it is to be generous while you are with somebody you can't leave at the moment. I don't know, maybe a child and grown-up child. And this person is just behaving in a way that really hurts. So the practice there would be Stay with your boundaries, care for yourself. Maybe spend as little time as possible with the person while practicing as much as it possible. Like, might not be possible so much. Spending time and practicing compassion. I remember when I had a really difficult time with one of my daughters, and everything just felt hard inside, and I felt like I need to protect. I put a pillow under my shirt, as if I was pregnant, and relating to the goodness. So the goodness is there in everyone. So you can be clear in setting boundaries, and that in whatever situation you're in, I don't know, it can mean like really taking the steps which are necessary to protect yourself, to go to live at another place, to leave your house, to leave your job. It may be as radical. And it may be for several reasons that that doesn't go so fast or that's not possible. Staying clear and firm with your boundaries and withdrawing to a safe place for yourself. And maybe again and again inviting a hand on your body to really remind yourself, okay, I'm having this boundary here and that's where I am. And actually setting boundaries can be so difficult for us. That can bring a whole lot of stuff from our childhood up. I practiced years and years and years in setting boundaries. And after 10 years or so, I discovered I was still just on an outer level. I still hadn't looked into the issues which were coming together with it. Why it wasn't possible to really bring it to the outside. Are you taking yourself serious, and are you kind with yourself? Also with the imperfections, those areas where you would love to be more kind, compassionate, and you're maybe not. This is also like goes together with setting boundaries, like really setting boundaries to an unfriendliness you might give yourself. Yeah, thank you, Jane, for this question. I hope I could be of any help to that. Philip shares, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all never be separated from the sacred happiness which is free from suffering, and may all live in equanimity without too much attachment or too much aversion. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. May all be free of suffering. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.